Greetings, my fellow alumni. Congratulations on celebrating your reunion milestone. Whether it's your 5th or your 50th, I hope this weekend brings back many fond memories of your time here at the Albany Medical College. As I do every year during reunion weekend, I would like to provide you with a state of the college, a high-level overview of what's going on at the Albany Medical College so that you come to a better understanding of where we are at this moment in time. First, let me assure you that the college is fully accredited. We have multiple accrediting bodies, as you can see from this list. The two most important are the LCME, Liaison Committee on Medical Education, and the MSCHE, the Middle States Commission on Higher Education. Those two give the most scrutiny to how medical education is delivered, faculty composition, curriculum development and improvements, and many other facets of medical education. Our CRNA program also has an accrediting body of its own. Our animal facility has an accrediting body of its own. The GME programs, the residency programs, are also under their own accreditation process, as is true with our PA program and our continuing medical education program. All of them are fully accredited. You'll see that the Middle States Commission on Higher Education is due for a visit this fall in October, where they will come and on campus or virtually to inspect the college against the accreditation standards. I'm always sanguine about accreditation visits, but then I think about they're here to find things, and no medical school is perfect. The average number of LCME citations has been 7 around the country, and when they were last here, we also had 7. Since then, we've been able to reduce it to 3 outstanding citations, and they are the following. First, tuition and student indebtedness. For those students that are in debt after graduating from Albany Medical College, the mean indebtedness is $219,000. Second, faculty evaluation of the curriculum. So there has to be ongoing efforts of the faculty to evaluate the curriculum and make improvements based on feedback and outcomes of our students. And lastly, the LCME is very focused on faculty development for the purposes of maturing the faculty and retaining the faculty. Just to review for you how the college is governed, we have one board of directors for the entire medical center that oversees the college, the faculty practice plan, and our hospitals. This is a huge plus for being nimble to respond to economic issues, practice acquisitions, mergers, whatever it is the college has on its plate. A single board of directors and a single source of governance has been an excellent plus for the college. As the dean, I serve as the chief executive officer of the college, but I'm also the senior executive vice president for system care delivery over the entire medical center. The single board of directors gives us the opportunity for strategic planning that is unified, fundraising across the entities, and budgeting. So dollars that are raised for the college, in this case, come to the college. Dollars that are raised for the hospital go to the hospital. So very much overseen by one board and single thought about how things are administered. I've had some changes in leadership recently. I've changed over some of the clinical chairs, which I'd like to tell you about. First, I've changed over the chair of anesthesia from Dr. Kevin Roberts, who served for over 20 years. He's also an Albany Med alum, class of 1977, to Stephanie Jones. Stephanie came to us from Beth Israel Deaconess in Boston, where she was the vice chair for the Department of Anesthesia, and she began a little over a year ago. We have a new chair of pediatrics replacing Dave Clark, Barbara Ostrov. She came from Penn State Hershey, where she was a practicing rheumatologist. In obstetrics and gynecology, we've hired Rebecca Rogers. Dr. Rogers came from the University of Texas Austin, Dell School of Medicine, where she was the vice chair for the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at Dell. And finally, in neurology, I've hired Panos Varelis, a neurointensivist who came here from Henry Ford Hospital and Wayne State University, and he began a little over a year ago and has already hit the ground running. The other important part about college governance is that I make it an effort to integrate faculty and student at all levels of the organization. So our students, for example, come to our Committee on College Affairs meetings, to our board meetings, and have an opportunity to present their issues directly to the board. And lastly, there's operational committees at all levels of the college, but specifically focused on college operations and faculty practice operations to make sure the needs of our constituents are met. As you all well know, Albany Medical College is not a research-intensive medical school. However, we do have a fair amount of elegant research that goes on this campus. Clinical trials funding for 2020 was $4.5 million brought in through the faculty practice plan. On the basic science side, $15.6 million came in to support basic science research in 2020. Because of our size, we push collaborations both locally and nationally. And one that I'll mention to you is the New York Capital Region Research Alliance, which forces us to collaborate with RPI, University at Albany, Wadsworth Laboratory, and the Medical College. These collaborations have been very, very fruitful and have been seeded by New York State on occasion. We spent some money upgrading our research facilities. We have a new research building, the first one on the campus in many, many years, the MR building, which is behind the MS building. And in addition, we've upgraded our animal research facility in the basement of both MR and MS. We have increasing translational research as we recruit clinicians that have interests on the bench, and we continue to invest to stabilize our investigators in between their funding cycles. Our core mission, of course, is medical education. Application numbers to our medical school remain incredibly high. In the calendar year 2020 to 2021, we had over 11,000 applications to medical school. From that, we interview about 750 candidates and we select 100 candidates. The other 40 candidates that we have in the first year class come from our combined degree programs with RPI, Siena, and Union. We have a new admissions process called multi-mini interviews, MMIs. I like to think of MMIs like speed dating. The candidates for medical school get many multiple 8-minute vignettes that they get to sit with individuals such as students, administrators, or faculty members, and the interview is structured in the sense that it's absolutely reproducible and measurable. We have a standardized patients and simulation center, which we call the Patient Safety and Clinical Competency Center, which has become integral to our learning and competency in our students. We all know we graduated here with an excellent education. This program, through the Patient Safety and Clinical Competency Center, gives us an opportunity not only to measure cognitive ability, but psychomotor skills and clinical decision-making in live time in a simulated way. COVID has pushed us further into web-based independent learning processes, and we continue to grow those programs. For example, in 2020, we put the entire anatomy program into the cloud, so students could come into the anatomy lab to learn directly, or they could learn in a cloud-based fashion. Many of you remember Julio Sosa. He was an interventional cardiologist here at the Medical Center for many, many years. Julio made a gift and got many grateful patients to make gifts to develop the Sosa Academy, which we dedicate for faculty development purposes and for curricular innovations. We continue to search for a regional campus, and I would say that today we are one of the best practicing UME institutions in the United States. On the graduate medical education side, we had an outstanding match this year of our students matching in excellent programs from around the country. And those of you that are involved with the residency programs, I hope you will welcome our students if you see them. On the Albany Medical Center hospital side, we also had a complete full match. So outstanding, very happy about the outcomes of our match. Residents have been changed in their role. First, the residents were hospital extenders where they helped do the work of the hospital, and then they became physician extenders and helped do the work of the physician. Now residents are regarded as students and teachers. So their curriculum has to be much more embedded in the day-to-day learning that they acquire. Competencies are going forward and backward. And what I mean by that is what we teach our medical students about core competencies go forward into the residency programs and reflect backward from the residency programs to what we teach our students in undergraduate medical education. It's clear recently from the Institute of Medicine that resident work hours will continue to decrease, forcing institutions that were traditionally large teaching hospitals to add advanced practitioners in order to accomplish the day-to-day care given to patients on the floor. Just like with undergraduate medical education, our standardized patients and simulation center is integral to learning and competency. For example, this year, our new resident orientation will take place in the Patient Safety and Clinical Competency Center so that our new hires as residents can demonstrate their ability to care for patients on the floor, in the units, in the operating room. The college also has very robust graduate education programs. We have a nurse anesthetist program, a physician's assistant program, a bioethics program, and straight biomedical sciences program at the master's and PhD level. The CRNA and PA programs continue to grow, and they're very robust and very competitive. Our bioethics program is entirely online. We were one of the first in the country to have an online bioethics program started by John Ballant, who many of you remember. The bioethics program also now has a doctorate level program that began in 2012, and this year our nurse anesthetist program has been approved to go to a doctorate level program. Graduate students for all of those programs are very robust, less so for our straight science degrees. In addition to our own homegrown programs in graduate studies, our students in our MD program have opportunities to get a Master's of Public Health through the University of Albany or an MBA through the Clarkson Union Graduate College program. I want to speak just for one moment about our faculty practice plan, which now has reached almost 600 practicing physicians and over 250 advanced practitioners. We have dedicated ourselves to recruiting physicians that are strategically linked to the Albany Medical Center Hospital. And what I mean by that is we provide enough primary care for our educational missions in GME and UME, but our linkage to the hospital is in order to create the most advanced practitioners in the region that work at the Albany Medical Center Hospital. Much like many of you, we find physician compensation is outpacing our payments from our insurance companies, giving us challenges in recruiting the high-end tertiary and quaternary care physicians that we want to bring to the Albany Medical Center campus. We are investing in a new electronic health record, which should be starting in the next 12 to 18 months. We've done centralized scheduling. We've aggregated our physicians into multi-specialty sites, which I'll talk about in a second. In addition, we've created a community division of the college. So there used to be simply a faculty practice plan of the employed physicians of the college, but through mergers and acquisitions, we've brought on other community divisions. For example, TNG is the neurology group, TEG is the endocrine group, and these are multi-specialty groups of themselves that we have linked back to the college, and they do some of our teaching in the clinical areas. We also have 15 emerging cares throughout the upstate New York region, and we have acquired practices in Schenectady in gastroenterology, urology, and otolaryngology. We've been very strategic in growing off-campus buildings for our multi-specialty physician practice locations. And this is bringing our physicians to the community rather than requiring every one of our patients to come down to New Scotland Avenue to be seen by our doctors. And perhaps the most recent addition to the Albany Medical Center are affiliations with Saratoga Hospital, Columbia Memorial Hospital, and Glens Falls Hospital. And we look forward to more physician integration with our affiliate hospitals. There's a lot of activity on this graph, and I don't think you have to see it or read it all, but at one point I want to make is now the Albany Medical Center practice extends as far north as Glens Falls, New York, and as far south as Poughkeepsie. Through our multi-specialty sites, through our urgent care sites, and through our physician practices, we've extended ourselves into our community to have better access for our patients. Just briefly, since some of you have not been back to the campus recently, and obviously we're all virtual now, just a little bit of an update on our college space. So I've mentioned the Patient Safety and Clinical Competency Center. This is a 12,000 square foot facility on campus that we put together for demonstrating competency in our students and our residents and for physician remediation. There's a standardized patient component in that building, and there's a technical component where students get to use their psychomotor skills and hone their psychomotor skills. In addition, we've brought all student services on the top of the ME building on the ME 7th floor. We call it the Commons, so students have one-stop shopping for all their needs. We built a new student lounge on the first floor of the J building. So the entire first floor of the J building now is dedicated to recreational and relaxation space for our students and a series of on-call rooms as well as some lockers. I mentioned we opened up the new medical research building. That was an NIH-funded laboratory that we opened in 2013. And finally, we have a new animal resource facility which we opened in 2015 and recently renovated in 2020. Looking forward to the future, what are the things that I think about and worry about? I think we need to continue to increase diversity in our student body and our faculty ranks. I think the medical center, while never being research intensive, we need to continue our commitment to having research activities. I think standardized patients and simulation will continue to be an integral part of medical education across the continuum, and philanthropy is the college's lifeline. I just want to take a moment to thank and recognize the reunioning classes of 2021 for raising almost $400,000 as part of their reunion giving program. I appreciate very much your generosity and look forward to hopefully thanking you in person someday. And a special recognition to the 2020-2021 Reunion Committee volunteers who worked with our foundation staff. They made personal gifts and they rallied their classmates to get involved with the reunion weekend. So thank you to the 2020 and 2021 Reunion Committee volunteers. With that, I'll end, and since this is virtual and I can't answer questions live, I provided you with my email address. If something that I discussed today you would like to hear more about, please email me and I'd be happy to respond to you. Again, thank you for everything you do for the Albany Medical College. Congratulations on your reunion milestone. I look forward to seeing you in person.